Today we're diving headfirst into a gripping true crime mystery that's really going to force us to question the true price of survival. We're unpacking the chilling case of Rachel Morgan, a story with so many wild twists and turns, it literally redefines everything we think we know about eyewitness testimony, family betrayal, and, well, what a person is actually willing to do just to stay alive. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so picture this. Imagine a woman walking into a police station 11 years after a closed case, only to drop this absolute bombshell. Ryan Carter was not the killer. I mean, wow. For over a decade, everyone, and I mean everyone, believed the horrific murders at the Morgan household were a totally solved puzzle. The killer was caught, convicted, and locked away for life. The whole shebang. Then, completely out of nowhere on a cold winter morning, the sole survivor walks into the precinct, no lawyer in sight, and just drops that line. It's the kind of statement that makes a crowded room go dead silent, right?
Section 1. That night, 11 years ago. To figure out why she lied back then, we've got to first look at the accepted facts from that horrific night.
The initial evidence painted is super clear, albeit chaotic, picture that easily put a man named Ryan Carter behind bars for life. So, at 1:17 a.m., an elderly neighbor calls emergency services, reporting screams coming from this old house just outside the city. When police break the door down, smoke is already filling the air. It's a total nightmare. They find 3 bodies scattered around. Rachel's father in the drawing room, her brother upstairs, and a family friend near the kitchen. But tucked away in a back bathroom, they find Rachel Morgan. She's got a head injury, deep cuts on her hands, but incredibly, she's alive. When she finally wakes up in the hospital 14 hours later, Detective Daniel Brooks asks her the million-dollar question: did you see the killer? She names Ryan Carter, an acquaintance who'd been visiting the house. Police search Ryan's car, they find blood. His shoes, covered in mud matching the crime scene. You combine all that with Rachel's direct eyewitness testimony, and it's basically an open and shut case. Ryan was screaming his innocence the whole time, but the evidence was just completely overwhelming.
Section 2. An unexpected confession. Now, the narrative completely flips when Rachel, entirely unprompted, walks into the station a decade later.
The original investigator, Detective Brooks, has moved on by now. So, enter Detective Sarah Mitchell, who suddenly has to unpack why the star witness of a closed case is totally changing her tune. And what's really wild here is she didn't just bring an empty confession, she brought actual physical proof. When Mitchell asked Rachel why on earth she gave false testimony 11 years ago, Rachel admits she knew the real killer all along, but kept quiet because, well, he would have killed her too. Why speak up now? Rachel simply says she's no longer afraid. And with that, she slides this weathered old envelope right across the detective's desk.
Section 3. The real truth inside the tape. This is where the whole case just breaks wide open.
Because inside that envelope wasn't a letter or some legal document. Nope, it was an old-school audio cassette tape. Detective Mitchell tracks down a player, hits play, and basically unlocks a time capsule of pure terror. On the tape, beneath Rachel's desperate crying, Mitchell hears her sobbing, saying, "Everything I'm saying is a lie." Then you hear it, a male voice. It's low, kind of muffled, but this one chilling instruction just cuts right through the static. Blame Ryan. Literally, just like that, the entire foundation of the original conviction crumbles into dust. Rachel had actually recorded this on the very night of the murders.
This revelation makes Detective Mitchell dig back into the old forensic files, and she spots this massive, glaring oversight from the original investigation. The 3 victims, they didn't die at the same time. The father was killed at 12:40 a.m., the brother at 1 a.m., and the family friend at 1:25 a.m. Look at that timeline. For nearly 45 minutes, the killer was just methodically executing people inside that house. That means this wasn't a simple smash-and-grab massacre. It was a terrifying hostage situation. And Rachel was trapped in that bathroom the entire time, totally aware with the killer pacing right outside her door.
So, I'm sure you're asking the exact same obvious question the detective had to ask: why hold on to this tape for over a decade while an innocent guy just rots in prison? Why not hand it over to the cops the second the killer left, or, during the trial? Well, Rachel's terrifying reality was that the real killer knew she had recorded that conversation. He would absolutely eliminate her if she breathed a word of it. The man outside that bathroom door wasn't just some random faceless intruder. When Mitchell asks why she couldn't just run away, Rachel drops another massive bombshell. She says, because the man outside was my brother.
Yeah, you heard that right. The real monster here was her own adopted brother, Jason.
The brother who died that night was Rachel's biological brother. Jason had been adopted by her father years prior, and he wanted to basically steal the family's property. But his plans were falling apart, so he resorted to systematically murdering his own family. When he trapped Rachel in that bathroom, he made it crystal clear: play along or you're the next body on the floor. Jason knew Rachel and Ryan Carter had some bad blood in the past, making Ryan the absolute perfect, believable scapegoat. But Jason made one fatal error. He had no idea Rachel had managed to sneakily record their whole interaction on that cassette tape.
Section 4. The Fall of Killer Jason Morgan. With the true mastermind finally identified, it's time to hunt a ghost.
Now, Jason Morgan had essentially vanished 11 years ago. The original cops just assumed he fled the country, right? But Rachel had this gut feeling he was still right there in the city. And Detective Mitchell didn't just guess. She did some brilliant modern police work and followed the money. She reopened his old bank records and found that, like clockwork, every single month, cash was being deposited into a specific account under a totally different name. But get this, the deposits were originating locally. They pull the bank's CCTV and they see this elderly-looking guy. White hair, glasses, a completely disguised appearance. But forensics analyzed his gait, the specific way he walked, and bam, confirmed match. They raid a small local apartment in the city and finally slapped the cuffs on Jason Morgan.
The interrogation room scene is just wild. Jason sits there denying everything, playing it cool, until Detective Mitchell simply places that old cassette tape right on the table. You can imagine all the color just draining from his face. He mutters, thinking Rachel kept it all these years just to hold power over him, saying, "So she kept me terrified all this time just to keep herself alive?" But Mitchell shuts that down instantly. "No," she says, "she kept it to keep herself alive." It completely shatters Jason's ego right then and there. He thought he was playing this twisted game of cat and mouse, but for Rachel, it was literally life or death. Defeated, Jason finally confesses.
Section 5. The Heavy Price of Survival. And this brings us to the profound moral dilemma at the heart of this explainer.
So Ryan Carter is finally exonerated and freed after 11 agonizing years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. But as he walks out of that courthouse a free man, the media absolutely swarms Rachel. One reporter actually shouts at her, asking how she could let an innocent man rot in a cell for a decade while she hid the truth. Rachel just stands there, owning it, admitting she's lived with that soul-crushing guilt every single day. But honestly, look at the impossible choice she faced that night. Option A: tell the cops the truth immediately, Jason finds out and she gets murdered before anyone can even stop him, the truth dies with her. Or option B: lie, play Jason's sick game, survive, and wait for the exact right moment when it's actually safe to bring the truth to light. Rachel chose to survive. As Ryan Carter stood in the distance outside that courthouse, the two just made eye contact. No words were exchanged. Because really, after 11 years of stolen time, what words could possibly fix that?
I want to leave you with this final, kind of haunting thought. Does justice require a pulse? This incredible case teaches us that sometimes a survivor is the ultimate, most powerful witness to the truth. But to actually deliver that truth, they have to first do whatever it takes just to stay alive. Faced with that exact same paralyzing terror, with that same monster standing on the other side of the bathroom door, would you have made the same choice? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next one.